Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with another StarCraft commentary. We got another one of our games from the MSL Top 100 today, and this is going to be number 90. There's our Goodfriend. He's going to be one of the competitors today, and he's going to be playing against MinGu. Now, MinGu is a player that I hadn't really heard of at all. I think I had heard the name before, but I had to look him up, so I'll tell you a little bit about him. But basically, we're gonna have a nice little TVZ here today on Raid Assault. This is from the Golf King MSL. It was played in 2004, late 2004, if I remember correctly. Yeah, kind of late 2004. So, yeah, MinGu. Let me give you guys a little bit of background about MinGu. MinGu is he actually started in, like, the first record of his playing in a WCG qualifier was 2002. So he's actually pretty old school. But, you know, he's one of those players that was just kind of like solid. And I don't know much about his style. I haven't watched his games or anything like that, but just based on his record, what I could find out, he seems like one of those players that's kind of like a solid player, but never actually able to kind of break out and really be successful. He's probably one of the, you know, top 100 players in Korea, but only the top 30 or 40 actually get into the Star Leagues, you know, and actually show off their skills on stage very much. But in this case, he's gotten into the round of 16 of the MSL, so this is probably his chance to show what he's made of. He's going up against Goodfriend, of course, who is an extremely good player in this period of time. But, you know, I'm going to say, based on the fact that Goodfriend, we've seen go to toe-to-toe with the best Zergs of the time in 2004 and 5. Going up against MinGu is probably going to be, he's probably going to be at an advantage for sure. But, you know, with these MSL 100 games, they've been picked because they're good games. So they're not going to pick a stomp where one player dominates the other, usually. There's going to be something interesting going on, so we'll see. Maybe MinGu. I mean, this is MinGu's season. He's actually gotten in to the round of 16, so we'll see if he can show some good games here and perhaps advance out, or at least you get to take a win off the incredibly good Goodfriend, who's got his SV stuck in the corner a little bit. These two drones doing battle. He's trying to stop the expansion from going on, and that's why we have MinGu sending two drones down here. But Goodfriend is being really obnoxious. Look at that. He actually got the hatchery down right underneath that SCV's nose finally. Do SCVs have noses? They probably don't have noses. Well, maybe do. I mean, they're people inside of mining mechs, right? That's what they are. SCVs are tiny little mining equipment mechs, right? But obviously the people have noses, but do the SCVs maybe have some sort of sensing equipment that could be considered a nose, under which a drone could build a hatchery? I don't know. Mysteries of the ages, ladies and gentlemen, be discussed right here on the Moletrap YouTube channel. Anyway, he did finally get down that expansion. It took him a little while though, so it's, you know, he basically lost a larva or two, and lost some potential mining time by the delays that happened there. So nice little tactic there by Goodfriend, who is just. Did we see him go into a factory, by the way? I was like not completely paying attention. Yeah, there's a factory, which is very interesting. I'll say interesting. I was about to say unusual, but it's not that unusual in this time period for people to go for like quick rates or something like that in TVZ. But it's definitely not the norm to do the factory tech, especially Goodfriend. His style is the standard 2 barracks play. Now the Overlord went in there, and the Overlord I don't think got far enough into the base to scout the factory directly, but he saw the gas, so he knows that something's up with that. He knows that there's going to be gas going. He's probably going to suspect that there's going to be vultures coming out onto the field in order to do some harassment here. We're going to see if he decides to make Hydralisks. Hydralisk Den might be a good call, because then it protects against the vultures and protects against the potential of the Wraith follow-up. And we do, in fact, see a Stargate starport being built by Goodfriend. He's just continuing to make a couple Marines here out of just the one barracks, just enough to kind of be a little bit secure here. There's the Vulture that we mentioned was a possibility. It's going to head onto the map. It was just a very strong possibility, I guess. Oh, he's got a nice little trap at the top of the ramp. Nicely done, using the terrain to his advantage, stopping this Vulture from getting in too much harassment by just basically taking a really cool position that, you know, the Vulture can't fire up because it doesn't have vision. And he is actually opting for a Sunken Colony as well as the Hydralisk Den there, so he's going to be able to deal with this pretty easily. So MinGu showing very excellent response to this play so far. I can't actually see... Okay, yeah, I did see for a moment the animation there. So a Wraith is being built out of that starport. I was thinking the other possibility is it could have been a dropship play, you know, getting 3 Vultures in a dropship and then going out. And oh, is he going to scout this? He's actually sacking this Overlord specifically to make sure he can get a scout off. And he does see the starport. I believe he also saw the control tower. And actually running the Lings in the front to get some free damage on the factory, I guess, while he while the Marines were distracted by the Overlord. Everybody run to the back of the base, stop the Overlord at all costs, and then the Lings just run in the front door. Could have been a bad moment actually for him if there'd been more at that front, but probably would have been an overinvestment. So here's that Vulture coming in for this harassment. Get a pretty good response here by MinGu. He actually is going to lose a drone after all. I was thinking that it looks like he wasn't going to lose a drone at all because he had pulled them off the minerals in a clever way and he was sending the Hydralisks over there. Does get one drone. One drone for one Vulture is a good trade, but he was probably hoping for more, is what I'm thinking. He was really hoping to get 2 or 3 drones, wreak some havoc at least, wreak as much havoc as possible. So wait, did he cancel the Wraith? I think he canceled the Wraith. I could have sworn, maybe I saw it wrong, but I could have sworn that I saw the blinking lights on the starport making a Wraith. Either I was wrong or he did make it and then he canceled it in order to make the control tower in order to just go for a drop here. And he's actually dropping Marines, not Vultures, and then opting to not drop them. Where's he going? What's he do? Okay, he's just dropping over to the side a little bit. Interesting spot. Maybe he scanned and there's something in the main. He wanted to go for the Spire and the Spire wasn't in the main. That's what's going on here. He's targeting the Spire down. He stims and runs in and nails the Spire in one fell swoop. And wow, that is a huge blow. Only a few Mutalisks have been made. He's probably going to make he probably has a few more in eggs right now, but wow, killing that Spire before he can get critical mass of Mutalisks is actually a huge deal. What an epic drop. Now here's the thing though, and it's such a crucial timing too, because if he gotten that Spire a little bit later, if he'd gotten in there a little bit later, A, the Mutalisks would have been out and they would be harassing those Marines, but B, there'd be enough Mutalisks out that they would demolish his base. He doesn't have an engineering bay. Goodfriend, this is very un-good friendly. I usually think of Goodfriend, and obviously I haven't seen a ton of his games, but I've seen a lot of his games versus Zergs, and he's usually a very standard player. And going for this really cool timing rush with the drop of the Marines to go after the Spire, to target the Spire down before he can make too many Mutalisks. Now he did make like 6 Mutalisks, but it's you know, basically not enough. He can't make any more. So he is that 6? 6 or 7? Could be wrong. But he can't make any more, so, like, you know, you kind of need to keep building Mutas to replace the injured ones and the killed ones if you're going to do Mutalisk harassment. So now he just lost a Mutalisk to that, diving in there to do some damage to those Marines, and he cannot replace it. I don't know if he's actually... I mean, he could be trying to rebuild the Spire, but it looks like he's just gone for the Lurker tech instead. And he's just going to use the Mutalisk that he made to try and keep Goodfriend back on his toes. Now, it looks like he did have an engineering bay almost completed when I said he didn't have one, because he's got some turrets up now. But he doesn't need to overinvest in turrets because, you know, he killed the Spire. There's only going to be so many Mutalisks, and they're not going to be numerous enough to really take out the turrets very effectively. He is sniping some SCVs around the corners here, doing a little bit of damage, so it's nicely done. But then now Goodfriend can move out with this attack, and he doesn't have to worry about the Mutalisk counter harassment too much. Oh, the first Lurker that was going in there gets caught in transit and eliminated without firing a single spine. He's got more Lurkers created though, so he's still going to be able to control the map with them right now. It's kind of it seems like a fast science vessel for Goodfriend, but he does have that science vessel out now, so he's going to be able to spot the Lurkers. He has to be a little bit careful of the Mutalisks, but there's no Spire, so there's no Scourge that are going to be created to target down that the Science Vessel. Did he? And actually, he has a Radiate already as well, so he's able to pick off one of those lurkers in addition. So just masterful play. That might be the reason why this is in the MSL top 100, because this is such a cool and effective and just actually genius timing attack by Goodfriend. I mean, this is the kind of play that you'd expect from Nada, or one of the more creative. I mean, Nada's the genius Terran, so he comes to mind, or Boxer or something like that. But Goodfriend pulling out some tricks of his own, getting more respect in my eyes, I gotta say. It's really interesting. You often see Zergs get that bottom left base. It's kind of, I wonder what the reason is behind that. It seems to work out well, but it seems like a lot of Zergs get the bottom left base on this. Sorry, I should say the far corner base from where their spawn is, instead of getting the top right. So for example, MinGu is next to the top right corner. And so that's farther away from Goodfriend's attack line, but there must be something about the construction of this map where they have to kind of go through the middle to get to the corners, that it's probably easier to defend that bottom left base, the far corner spawn. And you see it in Zerg versus Protoss as well, if I remember correctly. Anyway, just kind of a thing to note on this map, which the name of this map is, I've forgotten right now, Raid Assault. Raid Assault, that's what I said at the beginning and I forgot. Anyway, he's going in with these lurkers here. Nice tanks on the ridge. The Marines actually able to stand their ground. He kills the lurkers in the front line, not having to kind of fall back very much, meaning that the Marines are actually able to get a lot of firepower out. Just a very consistent amount of fire coming out of the Marines. He doesn't lose very many because the lurkers were just not quite close enough. It was so close to a really, really clutch play by MinGu. If he got a little bit closer and pinned those Marines up against the ridge on the right, he could have done a lot more damage, but instead, Goodfriend was kind of able to just stand his ground and kill the Lings and not take too much damage from the lurkers, and now he's irradiating and pick off the lurkers with the tanks as well. So Goodfriend is just playing this so well. He's rebuilt the Spire, so he's got the Scourge out now as well, and I don't think he has quite enough stuff on the ground. This one Science Vessel probably has 2 or 3 kills now. Actually, no, I guess there's 2, is there 2 Science Vessels out now? Maybe, yeah, there's 2 Science Vessels, never mind. But he's killed 4 or 5 units with these Science Vessels, lurkers specifically. So he's gotten some very, very good use out of them. Even if he loses them to Scourge, they will have paid for themselves, but that's the great thing about Science Vessels, is that you can keep using them, right? In any case, so he's building up a substantial Science Vessel count here. Oh, he catches the lurker eggs while they're morphing. Can MinGu defend these eggs by coming in from the side? It looks like he's going to try and do a timing and do a surround, and he's going to attack the tanks from one side. Just when the lurkers hatch on the other side, he does get the surround. The lurkers on the right are kind of killed off, but he does get enough damage on the Marines that he comes in with the Lings as well and absolutely demolishes Goodfriend's army. Wow, what an absolute genius counterplay by MinGu. He got his lurkers caught morphing where they could have been very easily killed before they were able to burrow as soon as they finished morphing, and instead he did a beautiful timing, coming in with units on the other side and forming basically a rock and a spiny place and crushing Goodfriend between those two sides. That was just absolute genius. Beautiful play by MinGu. So it's not just Goodfriend showing off in this game that put this in the MSL top 100, ladies and gentlemen. This is an absolute back and forth duking it out with really clever plays by both players here. He's getting into Filer Mound now as well, and so he does have the third base in the bottom left, and it has not been able to be harassed. The Goodfriend, instead of going for that bottom left base, chose a kind of a safer option in a way of going through the middle, because if he goes to the bottom left, he leaves himself open to counterattack. So by attacking the through the middle, it's kind of a little bit a safer form in that sense. MinGu coming in here in the middle here with some lurkers, just kind of forcing Goodfriend to take stock of the situation, fall back, siege up, be a little bit more cautious. And Goodfriend's been on one base this whole time. I've just been reminded, because you see his command center floating over here by this expansion that he hasn't even landed yet, and he's just been pushing off this one base. MinGu on 3 bases and Goodfriend on 1. Now this is a crucial moment now, because this could be where MinGu, I think, who was behind at first with that Spire snipe and the damage not being able to be done there, I feel like this is a moment where right now Goodfriend is just starting in mind with his expansion, and MinGu is just getting his hive tech up. So if he can use the hive tech to do some damage and stop the effectiveness, and here he goes in with a bunch of Lings and Scourge, all the Scourge die, except for the, well, I mean, well, the two that get the science vessel also died actually, but he didn't get any kills with the second set. So one science vessel still remains. Lost a lot of lings, but crucially kept his lurkers. I think this is also just buying time, making oh, he irradiates the first defiler. Oh no, that is actually a huge deal. You know, he really needs to get some Dark Swarms down. He needs this Hive Tech to come in handy for him. We did see a Greater Spire, by the way, earlier as well. Curious to see if that comes into play in this game. But this is kind of a moment where, like, if Goodfriend can push in and do damage before the Hive Tech really gets moving, he can take the game. If MinGu can use the Hive Tech to shut down that second expansion, that second base of Goodfriend, while he mines out his main, MinGu can take the game. This game is balanced on a knife's edge right now, and both players are trying to knock the other off, or trying to knock the other down on top of that edge to be sliced. And it looks like MinGu is going for that expansion base, but it is covered by a couple tanks. The defensive bunker is not complete yet, so the lurkers are going to be able to get in here and do some significant damage. And it looks like he's going to be able to get some behind there. Now, this is going to... It looks like the SCVs are going to get away. So this is going to get cleaned up. But again, this is buying a little bit more time where Goodfriend has brought his entire army back to his natural expansion to deal with this. He had to bring back his only science vessel left to deal with this situation. And in the meantime, has he gotten enough stuff together? Has Consume finished? Has he done something with the Greater Spire? I think I saw it, right? Am I just imagining things? 2004 was a crazy time, ladies and gentlemen. You never know what you're going to see in 2004 professional StarCraft. But in any case, ooh, that science, sorry, dropship. I don't know why I've been doing that a lot lately. Saying science vessel and dropship the wrong. Anyway, dropship is poking around for an opportunity to do some free damage or some harassment damage, and almost runs into some Hydralisks as a result. But it is going to get away. Scourge going in. Oh, and he's going to be able to pull back in time. Both players, I should say, pulling back in time. And back in time, since we're in 2004. There's the Dark Swarm. Nice little spot there, putting the lurkers on the top of the ridge. And swarming them as well to make sure that they can hit the tanks who were close to the ridge in order to be able to shell up there. MinGu getting a fourth base. Oh, there's the dropship. We didn't know where it went, and it's revealed that he's gotten, it looks like 4 drone kills. You can see 4 little puddles of blood on the ground there. So not a ton of damage done, especially because MinGu is just gotten his 4th base up, so he can just kind of run the drones to the 4th base, and he's not really losing a lot of mining time here if he can clean up that stuff before it can actually do any damage in his main. And it looks like there's another pile of blood there behind the mineral. So those 3 lurkers with kills on them, probably the cause of those blood pools back there. So he is able to clean up his main. No tech structures sniped this time by this drop. I wonder if that was the same dropship as earlier, actually. Probably not, but I know. So yeah, we're turning into a little bit of a macro game now. Both players have their higher tech stuff going on. Lots of science vessels flushing the battlefield, but lots of, well, some defilers now in play as well. And the tanks and the vessels are there, of course, to deal with these lurkers and defilers pretty easily. And he's going to be forced to fall back here. MinGu in a little bit of trouble. He needs to get those hive tech units down. And oh, he snuck all the way around the bottom of the map to get his units into the natural expansion of Goodfriend here. There's a nice little squad in position to deal with that potential route of attack, but the swarm and the lurkers push them out of position, so the lurkers can now push through the choke point into the natural expansion, and this might be an absolute slaughter of SCVs if he doesn't run them the right direction. He is running them the wrong direction, and the SCVs are getting actually killed off, plus some of the bio as well. So a beautiful backdoor play by MinGu is actually going to shut down the natural expansion entirely. He's got vessels over here. He's going to be able to irradiate some of these defilers. He's shelling the defiler mound right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually a huge deal. Some of the SCVs going back to mine because they didn't quite get pulled in the right direction before. Some of the SCVs had nowhere else to go, so they're actually run to the front. Goodfriend is not mining. He just lost most of his SCVs. He is not mining at all right now. It looks like the Dark Swarm is worn off, and that's the cue for him to run in here with his bio, lose a lot of it, but clear out that expansion at the very least. And now the Dark Swarm on the ramp is going to force his counterattack back. I don't know if he actually killed that Defiler Mound, but if he did, it's actually probably not going to slow MinGu down too much at this point, since he's got such a huge... No, the Defiler Mound didn't even get killed, actually, so he's going to be able to continue to produce Defilers. MinGu is running away with this game, ladies and gentlemen, after an early rough start by losing his key tech building of the Spire. He's been fighting back really hard, really well. And now that he's got this hive tech, he's defending and attacking simultaneously in different parts of the map, all over the place. He needs to not... no, that's okay. He loses a bunch of lings here, but he actually does... It looks like he got a tank in the background, so that's actually a little bit worth to throw away that many lings. And now the MinGu... Now that Goodfriend is trying to attack the bottom left and being repelled, not doing any damage, MinGu now attacking up the middle to try and threaten that natural expansion. And if he gets that natural expansion a second time while Goodfriend's army is off in the bottom left and not killing it, it will be an absolute disaster, and I think Goodfriend is going to lose the game. And it looks like MinGu is going to probably win this game as he snipes a vessel. He gets Dark Swarms on the ramp next to that natural expansion. If he gets some Lurkers underneath those swarms as well. Goodfriend's army has just been going the wrong direction at all times. His SCV's been running through Lurker Fire. His Marines running through the bottom left through Lurker Fire and Lynx as well. And now there's Dark Swarms on his natural. He can't really go in there to clear it out until the Dark Swarms go away. He's got a lot of bios, well, substantial amount of bio, but and some science vessels. But you know, it looks like he's just irradiating the Lurkers has not been enough. He's lost so much stuff in his natural expansion. MinGu is mining from several bases around the map, and Goodfriend is currently mining at 0 bases right now. This is his last army. I think he might have a little bit of money in the bank, and those science vessels, of course, that can keep firing. But look at those SCVs just chilling there. They're now fighting units, and they're going to be killed alongside the Marines as they go in here to try and clear out the expansion. Even without Dark Swarm, the Lurkers are still pretty dangerous. Those few Marines find out. He's going to go ahead and land this command center, but what does he have left to mine at it with? He's lost so many SCVs in those 2 attacks on that expansion that he's just got almost none left. Look at this. He doesn't even have the Marines to defend the science vessels from the Scourge. The Scourge are polishing off half of his vessel count. There's only a couple left. Partly because he had to get fire bats to deal with these Dark Swarms, right? So there's not a lot of Marines to shoot at the air to clear out the Scourge. So I hope they show Goodfriend's base so we can kind of see how many SCVs he's been left with, but I don't think it's very many at this point. Yeah, look at this. his refinery actually burnt down because it had been damaged before. And now MinGu coming in for yet another attack at that expansion. It's just burrowing some Lurkers there. He doesn't even... Okay, he does have science vessels there, but the Lurkers are just too strong here. The Firebats are going to be able to go ahead and clean them up, but the damage has been done. I think it's just, you know, Goodfriend is fighting hard, but there's the final nails in the coffin, ladies and gentlemen. And the nails in the coffin are, in fact, the tusks of the giant Zerg cows. They're going to be running down that ramp any moment now. There's actually a nice little pool of blood there where the Lings all died, but he's not going to be able to defeat these Ultras. I don't think. Well, assuming he can get 1 swarm on the ramp, which I'm not sure why he's not swarming the ramp, but it may not matter. It doesn't matter at this point. Goodfriend has lost this game in all real technical ways at this point. He's back mining with a handful of SCVs. He's continuing to produce Marines. I will gladly eat my words if he stages some kind of a crazy comeback right here. But, you know, unless we see a dropship landing medic Marines at 3 different bases in the next 10 seconds and slowing MinGu down and letting Goodfriend get back in this game, I think he's going to lose the long run. Now there's a Defiler. 1 swarm goes down. 1 more on the ramp should do it. He's consuming, and that's going to do it. Goodfriend, knowing he has nothing left to deal with that. GG's. And exits the game. MinGu actually taking a game. MinGu with absolute very clever play there. Showing his stuff. MinGu in 2004 was apparently a very solid player. But you know, a little bit of a spoiler alert. He just kind of never really accomplished much in his esports career. He was always one of those, you know, and again, credit to him, he was like one of those top 100 players. You know, he was able to take games off of really good players or solid players in like the prelims and stuff like that, but he just wasn't able to ever get out of the prelims. And that's partly because I was looking at his record, you know, one of the prelims he ended up facing Stork. One of the prelims he ended up facing Light. You know, so he was facing some top tier players in the prelims, but I think this was his only Star League appearance in a round of 16 or anything like that. Later on, in like a few years later, he was playing a few games in Pro League for his team, though. So you know, he had a good solid run in the esports. But that's why we don't know of him too much, though, because he just was never quite able to make it out far enough in order to make a big name for himself, you know. So in any case, very cool game, though. Again, starting with the Spire Snipe, that was such a cool play, and then the counter play, you know, with the Lings blocking the Vulture, and then you know, the lurkers coming around different sides. Just brilliant play by MinGu. Gotta hand it to him. I'm very impressed. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. That was a cool game. Thanks very much for watching. GG.